Okay, soul offering. The basic idea of soul offering is soul means accumulation. So what we have, the edibles and so forth, this is just symbolic. Soul offering is offering of the merits, offering of the accumulation of merits and accumulation of wisdom. So this is the main idea behind that. Meanwhile, so why this is considered very important, soul offering? Whatever good things that we have, we make offering of these to all Bodhisattvas. One thing related to the teachings is that to be connected with the teaching on emptiness, bodhicitta and so forth, it is not easy. It requires a tremendous accumulation merit, without which such things don't really happen. And at times, it's not personal experience. So you should have your own experience. Say, even for somebody to see that at one time we meet a lot of people, and then suddenly you meet somebody talking about bodhicitta, it simply makes you feel so light, and wow, this is amazing. Because you never hear people talk about bodhicitta, forget about emptiness. And suddenly somebody comes and talks about emptiness, say for example, I go to Israel, and then there's one group who is deeply into the Buddha's teachings, emptiness, bodhicitta, and so forth. But for a conference which I attended, which is more like the very normal scientists, neuroscientists, physicists, and the psychologists. So there the people really talking about bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, and so forth. There's so less. And suddenly you meet somebody, for sure you feel that this person must be very fortunate. Okay, so from this point of view, nothing really comes randomly. It's only through causes conditions that things come to being. The fact that we meet with the teaching of the Buddha, particularly bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, and then Seedling Sutra, for sure we are all very fortunate. And yet at the same time, this journey requires a tremendous support of merit accumulation, support of wisdom accumulation. And to accumulate further merit and wisdom, so that we will be prepared for the journey onward, to continue this journey, and of course as a gesture of thanking all Bodhisattvas for being there to bless us, that nothing really bad thing happens to us in the course of this course. So one gesture of thanking the Bodhisattvas for that, and more importantly, our gesture of accumulating more merit and more wisdom, so that we are more prepared for the future journey onwards towards the Buddhahood. Okay, so this is the basic idea. And what we do is that, so since that the morning practice primarily, deliberately, wherever I travel, I try to do this in order to encourage people, or to tell, after all, after doing all these courses, then people come up with the question on a daily basis, what to practice. This question coming up, how to practice. It's for this reason that in the mornings we do this practice. Not very long, because this is in a group, it becomes a little long. Otherwise, individually, if you do that, what we do in the morning, it may take you maximum 45 minutes. Even that we can adjust it further to like half an hour. Even that we can adjust further to 10 minutes. And I'll be happy to share with you what I've drafted, how to make this practice, the morning practice which we did. This is more like complete form. Only thing required to be added is the bodhicitta practice. Bodhicitta practice, we do that on the basis of the 4 immeasurables. So when you're by yourself, the 4 immeasurables will be just like the ground. It will not help us to build the bodhicitta further. For that matter, we have to practice systematically the bodhicitta steps. There's 7 steps the 9 steps. We have to practice that. And then if possible, at times these steps may become very mechanical, at times they can become mechanical. For that matter, we have to meet with like-minded people who actually does this, people who do this practice, and then you have to discuss, okay, I do this practice, it becomes very mechanical now, nothing is really growing inside me, I don't see any progress happening, so how do you do, this kind of discussion must be happening. A particular people, and to speak very honestly, in this world, Bodhicaryavatara practice will make you the happiest person. In this world, wisdom of emptiness practice will make you the most fearless person. Guaranteed. And for that, these two, to stabilize these two, we need single-pointed meditation, shamana practice. We need that to stabilize these two practices. Otherwise, the hardcore of the practice is the Bodhicaryavatara wisdom of emptiness. And as the support for the Bodhicaryavatara practice, then the renunciation is required, the rest of practice, the 4 seals, all these things are required. And finally what we seek is fearlessness, that's given by the wisdom of emptiness. What we seek is infinite happiness, that's given by the Bodhicaryavatara. Okay, so this, see if we can, no excuse, including myself, no excuse, that if you want happiness, you have to practice Bodhicaryavatara. If you want fearlessness, you have to practice wisdom of emptiness. No other way, no other way. With respect to any other things, they can be temporary solution or respite. They are not really the permanent solution. So therefore, to be wise, finally, what we really have to do, what is the agenda of our life, is to practice these two things. This is something, and it will not have, for me, simply giving teachings all the time, it will help for me. For others, of course, it may help, but for me, it will help every time I read it, again, they start to activate it, and should grow. It will not grow for me if I keep teaching like this, and then myself don't practice it, it will never grow. It will be activated. Activated means growth. If you put effort to grow, it will grow fast. But to grow, you have to practice it. So for example, say what we learned of dependent origination, we have to think about how 12 legs operating, not just intellectual learning, you know this, no. Know this, continue to think about it, and Bodhicaryavatara also just think about it, and then do the analytical meditation, just reflect how my mind is working, and then how my mind reacts to, say some situation where the person is nasty, a situation is unhealthy, how my mind reacts, somebody who is weak, somebody who is little, say the weaker person, how do I react, and how somebody who is very haughty, how do I react, somebody who is very successful, how I react. All these we have to see that how my mind works. So on that basis, as you grow older, year by year as you grow older, from age 20, okay, Lucia? Anybody from 20s? Huh? Check?
On the second go around.
Okay, so you're in your 30s, then you reach 40s, 50s, 60s. As you grow older, you become happier person, which means that you are into spiritual path. As you grow older, 20, 30, in your 30s you think that you are still 20s. When in 40s you think that you are in your 20s or 30s. And when you're 50s you think that you are still 30s. Right? And how do you know that you are not 30s? Is that when you really are with the 30 people of 30s, 20s, they will say that they will see it's very weird. Why are you coming with us? Then you realize that you are not 20s or 30s. Right? Otherwise you think that you are 20s or 30s. It's amazing how the mind works. Then one time what happened was that there is one security guard of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. who was like maybe at the most he may be 1 or 2 years older than me. And when we were in our 30s, and then one of my nephews, he was already tall gentleman, and he was in his 20s. He said something, and that really shook me. What he said was that this bodyguard, he was physically so healthy and he's very good in playing basketball. My nephew was also playing basketball. And my nephew said, what was he doing? He was coming with us. Old man coming with us. In a way he was saying that I'm old. I was in my 30s and he was just in his 20s. Because he was talking about, he's sincere about this gentleman who was coming to play with them. He said, what is this man doing? Old man. Not coming, to play with us. No, he is very fit, fine, just in 30s, his still body is so strong. But in the eyes of the youngsters, they see he is very old. Yeah, so what I'm saying that this is, as you age, then you start, say you reach 40 is fine. Then 50 is quite clear. Okay, now I'm no more young. But some people may not even come in when it's returned now. Me, 50 is very strong. 50 means I'm not young. That I could see very clearly. Then you start to miss your youth. 50 is still fine. Then 60, 70, literally you have to do, what call it?
Your health is...
No, not only the health, you have to resign. Retire, yes. Retire, this word is terrible. Retire, there's nothing good in it. It simply means that you're old, you're out, you're outdated. This is the word. It's a nice word to say retired. Right? Retired. And this is what is bound to happen to everybody. And people who are retired, they are very lucky that they got this opportunity to live that long. Many people, they will not even get the opportunity to live that long, to be retired, to see retirement. Right? From that point of view, bad sides, good sides, both are there. As you reach that level, then you miss your youth, you have nothing to do, which means that you are not a spiritual practitioner. You are not a spiritual practitioner. You are not a practitioner. If you miss the youth, and you have nothing to do, just watching television, how to kill time. If this is the kind of the problem that you have, which means that you are not a practitioner. Practitioner, as you age, you become older and older, you have the material responsibilities, you're out, then you become happier. Literally you become happier. If that happens, you are a very good practitioner. This is a simple mark. Okay, so with this in mind, for the soul offering, what I'm saying is that we have to practice. We have to practice, including myself, not just you, including myself. We have to practice. Otherwise, there's no point. There's no point. But those people who even do not attempt to study, as compared to those people who study is much better. This is so, even that person has to be, is a source for somebody to be venerated. Even if the person, the mind is so rough, still if the person shows interest in studying, even that is a person who deserves to be venerated as compared to somebody who is not at all interested even in the studies in the first place. Okay, some people say, what's the point if you study and not practice? This is too much. Who should be saying this? Should someone who studies should, in order to encourage somebody else. Okay, studying this, if you don't practice, there is no point. Right? This is people who study. They should, in order to pursue it, take them further. They can say that. Otherwise, you don't study at all, and then you say somebody else studying, and then the person still, angry. All these problems are there. so what's the point of studying? You study all these years, all these many years going to CSL, studying, same short temper. What's the point? What did you do? This is a question. What did you do? Did you study? Are you practicing? I don't practice. At least have you studied? No. Then don't say anything towards that person. Right? Who should be saying something to that person? Someone who already studied. If possible, study and then practice. That person should be able to say that. Or at least someone who studied. Studied? Okay, you have to do something. I should also have to do something. We have studied. Don't leave it there. Don't stay there in Gate. Go to the next Gate. Right? Don't, if you're in the second Gate, okay, now he said that I should go to the second Gate. I'm already in the second Gate, I rest. Don't stay there. Go to Paragate. This is how we would encourage further. But if you don't do it at all, no studies, nothing, right? Then this is a verse. So such person, you are not taught. We don't have the legitimacy to tell somebody who's at least attempting to study, took the first step. Even that is so precious. Okay. With this mind, what I'm saying is that morning practice, designing morning practice, some practice, not necessarily morning, anytime in the day, whichever you find is more suitable. Be very realistic. Be very realistic. Oftentimes, some people, they have so many these sadhanas to read, mantras to recite, so many chantings to do. Like 2 hours, 3 hours, gone there. Your energy is gone. What are you going to practice then? This is what I noticed in myself to some point. So many things to do, and then practice. By the time to sit and practice, no energy. Energy is gone. Then I realized that this is not really a good approach. Like 2-3 hours of reading, chanting mantras, and then reading, 2 hours, 3 hours, gone. Then you have no energy left. Whereas some practitioners from Kagyu, Nyingma, some practitioners, they don't have much things to recite. Very simple, very short. And then they practice. Just meditate. It's amazing. This is what we really need to think about. So therefore, some teachers may ask you to recite mantras, this text, this sutra, this mantra. Fine. There's nothing wrong in it. There's nothing wrong. I personally speculate that these teachers must have given you this because the person, the teacher may have met with many people, many students, and who are not really in a position to practice. So let them do something. Recite, chant. Okay, that's much better than not doing anything. Whereas if the teacher knows that you are actually practicing, the teacher will say that then you can cut down on this mantra recitation, you can cut down on this recitation, this sadhana and so forth. The teacher will surely suggest you that. Okay, this is, for that matter, so then the next question, how to design the practice? So the morning practice, which we do, is primarily for that purpose, for people to learn how to design your personal practice, to make it very concise. Don't make it bulky, make it very small. Like initially make it like 10 to 15 minutes, don't make it like 2 hours, 1 hour like that. Just make it like 10, 15 minutes. Initially, more than the quantity, what is important is the consistency. Consistency is very important. With the consistency, what happens, ease will come to you. Ease. With familiarization, there's nothing which will not become easy for us. This is what Bodhicaryavatara Shantideva said. So, ease will build up. Once the ease is there, it becomes like celebrating Diwali, celebrating Christmas, celebrating birthday. So easy, right? You don't feel it as a burden. When you don't feel it as a burden, then you can, okay, you want to have your birthday 2 days? Oh yes, you look at small children, Christmas 2 days, Diwali 2 days, they'll be even more happy, right? So you can then expand your practice. Okay, so with this in mind, this morning we already did the morning practice. So what we do is that, okay, Just refusion bodhicitta page 4. Then we'll do a very quick on the the Seedling Puja, very quick Seedling Puja, and then we'll do the three principal paths, and then we'll switch to the 4-minute practice. So finally the point is the inner life, in a daily practice, what should be like the skeleton, what should be the components to be the skeleton of our whole life practice. Number one is single point of meditation. Single point of meditation is required. Don't make it too long, like single point of meditation, like half an hour or 1 hour. Don't do that. Make it very short. Focus on quality. For single point of meditation, focus on quality. Don't focus on quantity. Make it like at the most 5 minutes, and if you want to do more, give a short break and another 5 minutes. Don't do 10 minutes in one stretch. Okay, this is very important. Single point meditation. Then later on, if you become expert in this single point meditation, then you can expand it from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. In just one go, 10 minutes. Then you are succeeding so well in this, then you can extend to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. By the time you're able to do for like 30 minutes, very successfully of high quality, then you can decide on your own. You will have some indications coming to you, physiologically, mentally, you will feel the indications. Then you will decide, you don't really need somebody to give you further instructions. But of course, when you think of the holistic, don't just emphasize too much on only one part. You should have a holistic picture. That is, the 4 things. One is the single point of meditation, which I talk now, and the renunciation. Renunciation can be on the basis of the 4 seals which we are doing, which is very effective. In fact, all teachings, practices of the religious renunciation, they are somehow grounded on the Buddha's teachings of the 4 seals. So number 2 is the renunciation. And the renunciation in the mornings, and also in our practice, we did that. What precisely does it mean by renunciation? What precisely does it mean by renunciation? Not just, okay, renounce your happiness, renounce your suffering, renounce your self-grasping ignorance, renounce your, the attachment to this life, renounce your attachment to the next life. Okay, this is all correct. This is all correct, but a very precise, technical understanding. In Tibetan, we call it, we say the touching the rock, touching the ground. So what exactly does mean renunciation? So that we have been doing in the mornings, say particularly in relation to the 3rd and the 4th seal. So the meaning, in the experience of emptiness, where the mental disturbance dissolves. In the experience of emptiness, disturbance dissolves, and your mind is freed of all all other factors. So that is the nirvana. And the aspiration to achieve that state, that experience of the emptiness, where all the mental turbulence agitation dissolve, that is the renunciation. Okay. Number 2 is renunciation. Then number 3 is bodhicitta. Bodhicitta as the ground, laying ground for the bodhicitta, we do the 4 vegetables. And the bodhicitta. And for bodhicitta, there are 2 methods. 7-fold cosmic method and the method of equalizing the exchanges of others. 2 methods are there. And initially, don't be too ambitious. You can go for one. Alternate between these 2 methods. Every day you alternate in these 2 methods. Today, if you do the 7-fold cosmic method, the next day you can do the equalizing exchanging method. Both are exceptionally important. Okay. Whereas later on, when you're, say, availability of time, and you become very confident in your practice, then if you want to do 2 methods in one go, you can do that. Okay, that is number 3, bodhicitta. Then number 4, emptiness. Emptiness, okay, emptiness we have to study, you practice very systematically, and if you are interested, we did a more detailed emptiness meditation, not just the emptiness studies, emptiness meditation. We did a more detail, I think, once in Deer Park. Deer Park, during which one? I think during the Mulamadyamikakarika text, and this one, and then recently in France we did one long version of the meditation emptiness, which will take like 40 minutes and so forth. Okay, then you can get the recording of that. So in other words, we need four. And you can initially don't spend so much on each of them. Then in 3 days time you will quit. So first do it in the form of a dose of each of these four. Make sure that it's complete. And then as you become very stable and consistent with this practice for some time, for about like few months or 1 year, then you can think of expanding these practices. Okay. So we will do that, and then we will also take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And just yesterday I received a message. Somebody saying that, oh Geshe, I remember you did the aspiration Bodhisattva vow in one retreat. Now I want to take the engaged Bodhisattva, actual Bodhisattva. I don't want the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Okay, this is all just a naivety, right? Aspiration Bodhisattva vow should be the ground. On this you have to grow the engaged Bodhisattva vow. And in any ways, for the engaged Bodhisattva vow, you should have some degree of experience of bodhicitta. If you don't have it, then it may not be a good idea to take this. Better take the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Okay.
You mentioned 2 methods of
bodhicitta.
Yes. What are they?
One is sevenfold avoidality, sevenfold cause-effect method, to generate bodhicitta. Sevenfold cause-effect method to generate bodhicitta. Chandra, we never did it in Choe.
We do it, I think you didn't know. We do it, Geshe.
We did that, right?
Everyone knows it. I mean, maybe she just forgot the terms.
Sevenfold cause-effect method. And the next one is the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. The method of equalizing and exchanging self for others.
You've done it earlier. If Geshe was asking, have you done it? Have Geshe done it? Yes, we've done it in the center last year.
Okay.
I know the second.
Sorry? The method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. No, Tonglen is just a small part of it. Tonglen is a small part of it. Many people think that the Tonglen is the method of equalizing. No, Tonglen is a part of it, and oftentimes, if the teachers, they suggest you to do Tonglen. Tonglen is a good practice, but if you're not skilled, Tonglen can make you burn out. Keep this in mind. Tonglen can make you burn out, right? So what you do is that do Tonglen practice with the comprehensive steps. All the 9 steps should be there. If you have the 9 steps, the chance for you to be burnt out is going to be much less. 80% less, 90% less. 90% less. 90%. Okay, if somebody suggests you do Tonglen, a teacher suggests you do Tonglen, you are very lucky to have at least met somebody to encourage you to do something virtual. But you should be very skillful. Even if the teacher just said Tonglen, you must check what the 9 steps are. Believe it or not, if you don't incorporate the other steps, 9 steps, Tonglen, they fall under step number 4 and 5. You just do step number 4 and 5, you will end up in burnout. You stop the practice altogether. If you seriously do it, if you don't seriously do it, no benefit in the first place. If you seriously do it, it will make you burn out very quickly. Whereas if you include step number 1, 2, 3, then 6, 7, 8, 9, then 4, 5 will be very effective with the other steps. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 included, then 4, 5 will become very, very effective. Just do the 4, 5 Tonglen, easily make you go to burnout. Okay, so don't blame the teachers. That, oh, my teacher, what is it? My teacher just taught me the Tonglen, and then now realize that this takes me to burnout, right? My teacher did not know anything. Don't blame the teachers. It's your job. Finally, the Buddha said, you are the master of yourself. Who else is there as your master? Right? You are the master of yourself. Even you are very lucky to have met this teacher who will encourage you to do Tonglen. Even that is so precious. Now what you should do is to make it holistic. Holistic. Step 4 and 5, Tonglen. 1, 2, 3, add 1 to 3. 1 to 3 will make you feel 1, 2, 3. Step 1 to 3 will make you feel that what I'm doing for others is what I'm doing for myself. You getting it? You understand it? Okay, how many of you feel tired how many you will be, which situation will make you more tired? To work whole 8 hours to earn a living for yourself? Or to work whole 8 hours to make a living for your neighbor? Which will make you feel tired? For your neighbor. Are you getting it? Because you don't love the neighbor, you love yourself more. You love you so much. That is very easy. In some of the places, there are 2 shops adjacent to each other. 2 shops. One is a government shop, and one is a private shop. Literally, they are shops. Go at 5 o'clock, government shop is closed. Right? The private shop will keep going like 11 a.m., 11 p.m. If the government shop, you said, no, look at the other shop, it's 11, you should stay like 6. 1 hour is a burden for that person. Whereas for this, nobody told this person to stay like 11, nobody told them. If you ask them, close it by 5 o'clock, somehow they will close it half. Right? And somebody said, hey, why close it directly, right? And then again the person will go, again will open it. Why? There's a joy in doing this. It's mine. You're getting it? When I feel the joy, the tiredness is not there. Tiredness means you don't feel the joy. So step 1 to 3 will make you feel the joy. Then you go step 4, 5. Then step 6, 7. Particularly step 7. Step 7 you feel the wonder, the magic of benefiting others. The magic of my joy through benefiting others. You feel the magic. This, even in the mundane sense, we have not experienced it. This joy, we have never experienced that. That joy is far, far exciting joy. Amazingly profound, fast, vibrant joy. We even, for our own personal benefit, for selfish interest, we never experienced this thus far. If you feel that, step number 7, you feel that joy, then you will request others, please let me help others. You know, this is such an exuberating joy for me. Right? This is unparalleled joy which we have never experienced before. This will, therefore, with these steps, you will never feel the burnout. Only if your body may not be able to tackle it, because you may work like 12 hours, 16 hours. Your mind can work that hard, but the body may not cope. You need to rest for the body. Otherwise, mind can keep going. Particularly when you experience the effect of the step number 7. Right? Okay.